and today we are going to learn note making. Dear children, this is your first class of class 11th, and I believe that going for any chapter or any poem or any supplementary reader story is not going to be that suitable. So we are going to have this lesson on note making, which is very important. So first of all, understand what note making is. Dear children, note making is the art of being able to abstract the relevant ideas, that is, main and subsidiary areas, while going through information, study material, reports, reading material, etc. So, what next? So, let us see what you are going to learn. Excuse me. हेलो. यस सर, मैं लाइव हूँ अभी. हाँ यस सर, मेरा स्क्रीन आ रहा होगा सर. स्क्रीन आ रहा होगा, मेरा फोटो नहीं आ रहा होगा, स्क्रीन आ रहा होगा. या so so let's come back, dear children. Learning outcome. So what you are going to learn from today's class. So yes, by the end of this online note making class, you will be able to make notes from a lengthy passage with proper indentation and abbreviations. What is this? Don't be confused, you will learn. And you will be able to review your own notes which you make for your exams or something else. And third, you will be able to create a useful revision document or study aid for future use. So why do we need to learn this skill, the note making skills? Dear children, it is because it is easy to remember the information gathered. Number two, it makes revision quick before exam. Suppose if you make some notes of some subjects, so you can revise it easily. Going through the bulky books and notes is difficult, and going through these simple notes is easier. Next, you can store your supplement material taken from reference books and journals. Fourth, you can condense lengthy lessons into shorter ones. And last, you will understand better. So these are the some of the benefits of learning note making. Now, what is the purpose? Other benefit is okay, but why do you need to learn this note making in your class 11th? So the reason is that if you want to gather information on a specific topic, you need to learn note making. Now, next point comes. What are the characteristics of good notes? So, the very first is hello. Yes, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So, the very first is brevity. Brevity means that your notes should be brief and to the point. Means like you should not write elaborated notes. Your notes should be brief and to the point. Second is relevance. Your notes should be relevant. It should not be like that you're going to include any unwanted information or irrelevant information in your notes. And the third is clarity. Clarity means that note should not be so brief that that clarity is lost. Yes, we are talking about clarity, or brevity, sorry, and but we are not coming to the point of the clarity. Brevity doesn't mean that you should sacrifice the clarity. Clarity means the clear meaning of your points. And the next is your note forms. Your forms should be logical, in sequence, and it should be maintained. Next is abbreviations and symbols. Dear, it is necessary for CBSE as well that you need to use abbreviations and symbols. We use abbreviations and symbols for the words which are lengthy, means big, and also the words which come again and again, means frequently they appear in our notes. To save time, we use abbreviations and symbols. And next is to include all the important information And yes, do not sacrifice at the altar of brevity. This point I have discussed earlier. Next is the logical presentation should have headings and indented subheadings. This is very important and we are going to learn. So let's come to the steps to follow. So the first step is that yes, read the passage carefully. Yes, I know in exam you won't be having much time to read the passage carefully. Yes, but a quick reading of the passage will help. And try to get the theme and subject of the passage. So what is the theme? What the passage is talking about? And the next point is yes, after reading carefully, you must identify the main ideas. Generally, every paragraph deals with one main idea, generally, not always. So, identify that main idea and then add important supporting details. Step 3, sorry, the spelling is mistake. Step E, I have omitted. That you have to make notes of the main ideas under headings and sub points under subheadings. And the 4 is you have to use proper layout. What is proper layout? Indented linear form, sequential form, tabular form, flow chart, and pie chart. But generally we use this sequential form or indented linear form. I will show what is that. So, what is it? The main section, the subsection, and the subsection. So we what is main a section deals with? Main section deals with your main point. Subsection deals with the point explaining main point, and subsection deals with the point which explain subsections further. Next is decimal system. So we use this decimal like main point will be 1, subsections will be 1.1, and subsections will be 1.1.1 or 1.1.2, whatever. Next. So this should be the final look of your notes after this is indented one. We will do one example also, don't get confused. So this is the indented format. Now let us come to what kind of abbreviations to use in a note making. So there are various methods of using abbreviation. The first is that we capitalize first letter of word like UN for United Nations organizations, and we may use symbols which are very common symbols, and like this means IE and an arrow for rising at the rate of and so on, etc. for other things. Now, using abbreviations, this is also like we use dr dot for doctor, prof dot professor. We may use when we use numbers in place of figures, like we can write 12 meters, but instead of writing that, we use 12, this numerical form. This is also abbreviation. Using the first few letters of the word, that is edu dot education, tech dot technical. Next is using the first few and last letter of the word, govt dot for government, std dot for standards. Using the first few and last few letters of a word, like for example in the middle you have taken RLGN for religion, LTD for limited, and also using short words. It is not visible to you, but let me tell you, like for example, we use COP, COP word for policeman. So that's also an abbreviated form. This marking scheme is like journal for class 11. Title, you have to write the title, which is for 1 marks. Content is 3 marks, which means your minimum 3 headings, subheadings with proper indentation and notes, and abbreviation and symbols, any 4. But you have to take notes of 2 3 things. One is that you children are in habit of writing full sentences. This is our experience, but let me tell you that full sentences are not accepted as notes. Okay, now let me show you a standard layout. So you are going to write title at the top, then the main heading, subheading, And there may be two or three subheadings, the one main heading. It's some simple thing that it should look like that. And subheading should go after subheading. So you have to indent. Indent means you have to leave space, like here. From main heading to subheading and from subheading to sub-subheading. At the end, it is good if you give a key to abbreviation where you hide the word and the abbreviated form. So how can we make notes from larger piece of text? Now we are going to see an example. See here is the text, a short text, yes, but still we will learn how to make notes from it. I'm reading it, so pay attention. Life in ancient Egypt was centered largely on agriculture. The majority of the people were involved in farming, and the growing season lasted 8 9 months. Wheat, fruits, and vegetables are the principal crops, although there was some pastoral farming of cattle, sheep, or goats. Farmers in ancient Egypt worked to reach a level of subsistence so that they could feed themselves and pay their taxes. During the annual flooding of the Nile, which typically lasted from July through November, farming was impossible, but when the water receded, a thick layer of fertile silt over the farmland remained to ensure rich raw soil for their crops and thick grasses for their grazing animals. So, what we have read, and we come to know what this passage is about. Think over it. You may drop your answers in the message box. Okay? So, in general, we come to know this passage deals with life in ancient Egypt. And what are the main points which talks about? We have underlined like agriculture, growing season, 8 to 9 months, wheat, fruits and vegetables, principal crops, pastoral farming, cattle, sheep, goats, feed themselves, pay their taxes, annual flooding, Nile, July through November, farming, impossible, water receded, layer, fertile silt, grazing animal, crops, thick grasses. So, in this, we find these are some of the important points which we may include in our notes. So, this is a standard, what we say, a format, or you can say the notes which we have made from this paragraph. See, ancient Egypt. So, ancient Egypt, what was the main profession? The main profession was agriculture. And so, the main profession was agriculture. In agriculture, again, there are two subpoints: principal crops, wheat, fruits, and veggies. So you see here for principal, we are using abbreviated form print for principal. Veggies, a shorter word for big word, vegetables, veggies. Now, after this, growing agriculture, growing saying it, what they grow, what were the principal crops. Let's see. Next, growing season lasted 1 month. Growing season lasted 8 9 months. This is a bit wrong. So, growing season lasted 8 to 9 months. 9 months. Fine. So we come to know that yes, when yes, so we after this, sorry for the uh, so growing season lasted 8 to 9 months. Now let us come to pastoral farming. So because after agriculture, the second was principal crops, and we see principal crops, and then there was pastoral farming, and we find pastoral farming. So for pastoral farming, they use cattle, sheep, or goats. And yes, it is mentioned here. They used cattle, sheep, and goats. They did the pastoral farming of these animals. Yes, third point again for the men profession, it is clear why they worked so hard. What was the main purpose? And it is very clearly mentioned that they could feed themselves, which is the primary concern, and the second is to pay their taxes. So to help to feed themselves or pay taxes. So their main profession helped them to feed themselves and pay taxes. Now comes to the major problem. So major problem was, we see here, annual flooding of river Nile. So yes, the major problem was annual flooding of river Nile. Again, two more points explain this flooding. Like it lasted July through November, and during this time, farming was impossible. So annual flooding of Nile, July through November, and the farming was impossible. Now comes boon. What is the boon? Boon means what was the benefit? Benefit of this flooding. So you may also write benefit of flooding. So when the water receded, a thick layer of fertile silt over the farmlands remained to ensure rich soil for their crops and thick grasses for the grazing animal. And we see here that when the water receded, when the water receded, again it goes to the same point. So yes, so when water receded, first sub point is left layer fertile silt, and then crops and thick grasses for animals. And now here we see the key to abbreviation and symbols. Print for principal we have used here. Veggies for vegetables. NOV dot for November. And impossible for here. Impossible is the one. And then and we use and here. Dear children, one thing which I have noticed in this slide, I have not noticed earlier, I would like to mention that see, all these points are written in capitals. So let me tell you, dear, you need to not to write all the points in capital. You have to write it in writing, common, sentence case. So this is the proper format. Okay. So first of all, the title, then the point, minimum three main points. In three main points, you are going to have the what we say the sub point, which are supporting actually your main point, and then you can also have sub point below the sub point to explain the sub point further. Number 2 point, you have to maintain a consistent numbering. I was saying here 1, and the sub point of 1 is 1.1. The second sub point of main point is 1.2. Third sub point of main point is 1.3. Similarly, The sub point for one, the sub point is like, because it is 1.1, so 1.1.1, 1.1.2. And because this is 1.2 points, so here the sub point is 1.2 and then 1 point, and then if there would have been other points, then 1.2.2 or 3, something like that. So the major problems: 2.1, 2.1.1, 2.11.2. I hope that this point is clear. So the final note making which you will write will look like this. And this is very useful. For your exam, it is one of the most important part of your curriculum, your exam of the reading section. So this ancient Egypt is this only example. We could have written Egypt as well. Are you getting? You could have taken the title like Life in Ancient Egypt too. Remember that you must keep your title short. It should not be very lengthy. And also, your main point should not be, yes, notice here, there are no complete sentences, no full sentences used. So, just revise once more what you are going to keep in your head. Your title should be there. First, it carries 1 mark. Then you are going to arrange your notes in main point, sub point, and sub point with proper indentation. Indentation means space after each. See, it is forming a ladder. It is forming a ladder. In number three, you are going to use consistent numbers like 1, 1.1, and here 1.1.1 or 1.1.2. Next is, you are not going to use complete sentences. You are going to write only notes. For your exam, minimum 3 main points should be there. And yes, in the full note making, at least 2 to 3 sub points should also be included. What we see that you people write main point and you write some point, but you forget to write sub point. So make it sure. And then yes, you are going to abbreviate some big words and also some frequently used word as well. Fine. So I hope that this note making is clear to you. If still you have any confusion, any problem or anything which is not clear to you, you may ask me. You may drop your message in the message box. Okay, one thing more I would like to tell you. Your note making exercise is of 8 marks. So 5 marks for class 11, 5 marks is this, your title, your notes, and your abbreviation and symbols. And 3 marks is for your summary. So you are going to write a summary of 80 words based on the notes which you have made. Okay, and the summary should be, in sentences, 1 paragraph, that's all. So I am going to end the class today. I hope you have learned. You know how to write a note making and what are the important points to be taken care of while writing notes. And also, you can use these notes to write summary. Fine. Thank you.